This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and bringeth forth the instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory. Call halal la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Hakadas Wakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwaf and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing to edify the video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the heathen, looking like the heathen, but subscribing to this truth. To you I say shalom. To you I say shalom, Salakia. This is Brother Yahweh up out of the GMS Cleveland camp, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shah. And I'm doing a video or another lesson out of this book, The Bombing of Hiroshima. So that's why I came out with this scripture, because basically it's going to go into like the development of the atomic bomb, which the atomic bomb was the blueprint for your modern day ICBMs, because your nuclear weapon, the atomic bomb was your first nuclear weapon. So I'm gonna jump right into it. It's page 55. It says Harry S. Truman takes the presidential oath of office following the death of President Roosevelt, April 12, 1945. Minutes after the swearing-in ceremony, Truman first heard about a secret program to develop a new type of weapon. It said on April 12, 1945, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt died in Warm Springs, Georgia, of a massive cerebral hemorrhage. His vice president, Harry S. Truman, took the presidential oath of office at 7:09 that evening, becoming America's 33rd chief executive. And it's proven that he was a 33rd degree Mason. But pretty much all presidents have been Masons. It says minutes after the ceremony, Truman heard for the first time about a program to create a new type of weapon. But the cabinet official briefing him, Secretary of War Henry L. Stimson, was so vague that Truman couldn't figure out what he was talking about. The following day, Jimmy Brines, a Roosevelt confidant, whom Truman would make his Secretary of State, briefed the new president more thoroughly on a program that had been codenamed the Manhattan Project. Since mid-1942, at facilities spread across the country, the United States had been at work on producing a bomb that would rely not on a chemical reaction like conventional high explosives, but on a nuclear one. If the idea proved to be workable, the weapon might generate a blast many times more powerful than that produced by any previous weapon. And like I said, when I did the first lesson, it went into Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was the physicist that actually came up with the nuclear, the atomic bomb. And then you go into like these families, like the Oppenheimer family is like one of the 13 richest bloodlines. He's like one of the 13 bloodline families though. It says General Leslie R. Groves had been placed in overall command of the Manhattan Project. That's the spirit. It says Grove in turn had selected a young physicist named J. Robert Oppenheimer to head up the main scientific research and technical work from a facility in remote Los Alamos, New Mexico. By 1945, the enormous theoretical, technical, and industrial hurdles inherent in the project had swelled its total workforce to more than 100,000 persons nationwide. The origins of the whole massive undertaking will be traced to a discovery little noticed outside a small circle of elite theoretical physicists made by two Germans in 1938. Bombarding the radioactive element uranium with neutrons, tiny particles found in the nuclei of atoms. Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassman were left with small quantities of a different element, barium. It remained for two more German scientists, Lise Meitner and Otto Frisch, to figure out the meaning of this strange transformation. Despite the conventional belief that atoms were indivisible, Hahn and Strassman had split the nuclei of uranium atoms into two. This process is called fission, and that's the spirit, because I was just about to look up, like basically the process of how you break down a bomb. I mean, basically how is an atomic bomb or a nuclear bomb created. But then you, like I said, you got the Atomic Energy Commission, because when they came up with this like when they created this, they actually created a department to regulate it, because it was like another source of energy. But I got a scripture, because when you go into that, that's what, like I say, I tend to say Esau has wisdom and knowledge. I mean, it tells you that in scripture. I'm gonna just go straight to the point. I bring the scripture out a lot. This is Ezekiel 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Verse 4. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. And when you go into that, like I said, I literally told you, if you go look up Oppenheimer, I mean, they family wealthy as fuck. But when you take time to think about it, I mean, he created nuclear energy. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't they be wealthy? But they're one of the bloodline families. And if you go, like I said, when I did the lesson the week prior, he was basically into that Hindu book, the how is it pronounced? Bear with me for a second. The Bhagavad Gita, where it talks about when he basically said he's a destroyer of worlds. It says follow-up experiments show that the two fragments of a split nuclei repel each other with tremendous force, releasing up to 100 million times more energy than is released in a chemical reaction of the same size. They also show that each atom fission releases 2 or 3 neutrons, which can in turn fission 2 or 3 additional atoms. With each successive generation of fissions, the number of neutrons released and hence the number of new fissions increases exponentially until the force created by the fission process pushes apart the uranium and stops the reaction. A fission reaction can occur only when the fissionable material is densely packed. Bear with me for a second. It says, a few people grasp the military implications. If a way could be devised to bring together enough uranium and keep it together through a chain reaction involving many generations of fission events, near the end of that reaction, a large number of atoms will be fissioning simultaneously. The result will be an explosion of immense destructiveness. Slovakia. In the early months of the war, the Nazis began a secret atomic bomb program led by the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Werner Heisenberg, and including such luminaries as Otto Hahn, the co-discoverer of fission. The worried British initiated their own program and pled with the Americans to throw their scientific and industrial resources into the effort. Although President Roosevelt authorized funding for research, Slovakia. Although President Roosevelt authorized funding for research in late 1941, it wasn't until the following year that a full-scale effort to build the bomb got underway with the creation of the Manhattan Project. In 1942, Japan, too, entered the race to construct an atomic bomb. I never knew that. Dr. Yoshio Nishina, a 52-year-old physicist who had founded the nuclear research laboratory at Tokyo's Riken Institute, was picked to lead the Japanese program. By order of the Prime Minister, Hideki Tojo, Nishina enjoyed unlimited resources to develop the Japanese atomic bomb. Neither Japan nor Germany would come close to solving the theoretical and technical problems associated with developing the atomic bomb. I'm going to stop there.